I know every single guru wants to share the videos of how they have students making millions and millions of dollars. And so to go against the grain and bring reality to the marketplace, today I interviewed a student of ours who's doing a couple $1,000s a month extra on the side while working her full-time gig as a translator. So the cool thing about this video is it is reality to so many people, because in order to get to 10,000 a month, you got to go to 500 to 1,000 to 2,000 to $3,000 a month. So to keep transparency in the marketplace, I hope you enjoy this video, because Jessie actually brings on some really good pointers, as well as her journey on the things over the last 4 to 5 months that she's gone through and what has really helped her get the success that she currently has. Enjoy. All right. First of all, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. I know that we're all busy, so we'll kind of keep it to, 15, 20 minutes. So you're good with that?
Yes.
Awesome. So tell me a little bit about yourself, because you've been in LMV for how long?
5 months.
5 months. And what were you doing before that?
I lived in Mexico for 15 years, and I have a translation and interpreting business.
Wow.
So it has been going for 10 years. I have 2 associates, and that was excellent in Mexico. But then my kids really wanted to move back to Canada and be around family and their cousins.
Sure.
And so it came to that point where I couldn't keep saying no. And
it's like 15 years of no.
Well, I mean, they're 10 and 7.
Yeah.
So like I tried my hardest. Yeah. So we came back here to Ottawa, Ontario about 10 months ago.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah. And when I got back here, I was like, wow, this like pesos is not going to cut it up here. Like, yeah, I was shocked, like food prices, and it's like, whoa.
Yeah, so, that's actually, now that I think about it, because you are earning your money in pesos, and in Mexico, it's translated much, obviously much better. So you were probably doing well in Mexico. And then when you came here, yeah, I could see that being a problem.
I was living large. Like I lived in an apartment that had 2 pools, outdoor and indoor.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, everything was great. It was wonderful. But so I got back here. I'm like, I need more money. I'm like, I need to think really hard about this. And so I was looking into my high value skills.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, copywriting is something that I do, but it's very hard. And so I'm looking into the other ones. And then I am reading up on a course. And it's like a review of that course was you guys. And so I'm like, then I'm reading about you guys, and I'm like, that other course is not going to do. And
so you were looking at digital marketing, basically, is what you're like the.
Yeah, I was starting to get into it, because I was like, I need money, a lot of money.
Right.
And I can't be working hours and hours, because on my own business, I already did that. And I work like a donkey. Yeah. And I don't want to keep doing that. Like, sure. So, yeah. So I did the course, and I was very convinced. And I started to learn it and do it, and I just followed the fucking instructions. And then I did the toe challenge. I met Denroy.
Mm-hmm.
He's the greatest. Yeah. And many other wonderful people who've helped me so much. And so now after 5 months, I feel good, because I'm making 2 to 3 extra thousand per month for myself, and 2 to 3,000 for fulfillment man. So I feel good.
Nice. And so, yeah. So I guess my question is that, because it's funny, you came in with the I just followed the effing course. So like, what made you say it like that? I'm just curious.
Well, because it's funny, because everyone says that. Like, I love the 10K videos, or it's like when you ask them and you're like, what's the secret? Yeah. And they're like, follow the course. Or like every single person, like Mick, the other day I was watching his video, and each person says that. But what I was able to discern is that even though each person says that, every single person that I've seen who's successful with this course takes the information and the tools and turns them into something
Different.
themselves.
Sure.
Yeah, that they made up. Some part of it they made up because they adapted it to a niche to
Hmm.
explode it, you
Yes.
know? So, because I'm always like trying to figure it out, I'm constantly trying to figure it out. And that's what I love about it too, is that it's such a challenge. But so far I feel good, and I feel like I'm doing something that I never imagined.
Hmm.
And I feel good about myself because I made money from nothing, just using my voice.
Right. Yeah. I read on here that you decided to do the cold calling route.
Yeah, I love cold calling.
You
Love
do.
it. And yeah, I love it and I hate it. It's both.
It's like
Yeah.
it's like my son was flossing his teeth the other 2 nights ago or whatever, and I'm like, you don't have to like floss like every like. He's like, yeah, but I like love it. Yeah, he's like, it like hurts, but it feels good. And I'm like, I totally get what you mean.
Yeah, yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
And so but did you, because you wrote on here that you're doing something that you're uncomfortable, still learning, doing things really far outside your comfort zone. So is cold calling outside your comfort zone?
No, but digital marketing is
Okay. And why is
really
digital
far.
marketing? Because you feel like you just don't know enough about it?
No, just for example, like I never had Facebook before LMV
Oh,
in my
that's right.
life.
Yeah, I was going to get to that.
My life. I swore I'd never get it. And then LMV broke me.
Well, I'm going to, so it's funny because I bet probably like 20% of students who come in don't have a Facebook account for, for the group. And I remember always saying to myself, like, how is that even possible? But then I like think about myself and I'm like, actually, if I didn't, have this coaching program, I wouldn't have Facebook either. Like I haven't posted on my Facebook page in, I don't even know, 3, 4, 5 years, something like that. And so, yeah, so now it kind of like makes sense. I definitely wouldn't have it. So no Facebook. You started from nothing in a digital space, and you're doing probably the hardest prospecting that there is, which is cold callings. So tell me a little bit about what made you just go right into it, other than saying you love it. Like, did you know you loved it prior to choosing that prospecting avenue?
No, but I was really like in a place of sort of desperation where I was like, there's nothing else. I'm doing this. And like when I
Right,
got the course, I bought it and I was like, I'm doing this right now, right away. Like I
right.
started watching the videos nonstop, put everything else aside.
Yep.
I was like, I have to do this now.
Hmm.
And then it was like, I didn't really get it. Like at that point, I didn't know like what prospecting was, but I'd already committed.
Right.
And it's like, okay, so here are the options for prospecting. And I'm like, well, I don't have any Facebook contacts. And I thought really hard because I know so many people.
Right.
But among all those people, because they're all contacts from translation, like international organizations and
Hmm.
the USDA, you know what I mean? Like the
Sure. Sure.
embassies, like so
Yeah. Yeah.
these are not like plumbers and all the rest of it. And I like rack my brain. I could not even think of one person to try this out on. And I'm looking at the list of prospecting. The Upwork is very painful for me. Like I do it a little bit. That's very hard. And I'm like, well, I guess of those options, cold calling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got the headset and all.
This is from my interpreting too. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. So it
Yeah.
matches. So how
Yeah.
many people do you call it? Do you do it like daily, weekly? Like what's your?
So I sort of I knew you were going to ask that. So I prepared an answer.
I didn't even
There's
know I
a
was going to ask that, but
there's a cycle that you go through.
yeah.
And so sometimes you go hard and like pound it out, and
Yeah.
other times you go slow and smooth, and sometimes there's nothing. But the important thing is to keep going through that cycle. So, for example, right now, I haven't cold called anyone in like 2 weeks
Hmm.
because I went on a work trip for a week and then I actually just relaxed for a week because I
Hmm.
was like, I have enough money to pay my rent for the next 2 months
Yep.
and I'm making important plans. I'm not in a rush. So yeah, I
Right.
did take 1 week off, but I'm going to start pounding it out next week. But it's like, I would say out of a month, maybe it's like 1 or 2 weeks if you really were going hard every day, 30 or 60 calls.
Okay.
So and I have gone through this cycle. So when I'm doing it, it's like every day 30 to 60 calls. And then like take the foot off the gas, because you have to go through the other parts of the cycle, which are building relationships with people who you call.
Right.
And it's
Right.
not just like pound, 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 here's your money, bye. Like
Sure.
that's
Sure.
that's
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
No,
not
every
it.
client becomes somebody,
And they are on their own schedule. So maybe they're going to call you later, and
hmm
maybe they're going to think about it,
Right.
and they actually do call you back.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a buying cycle, and I think this is where people get frustrated. Everybody has their own buying cycle. Like, for example, I'll give you an example. I like right now I've had like 3 different calls, and I have another one after this one, with a media company, right? To have them do services for my organic stuff, blah blah blah. And like, if the guy wasn't following up with me, it's a very large investment. But if the guy wasn't following up with me, I'm not going to go out of my way, even though I know I need it, right? But I'm not going to go out of my way to go and spend a large chunk of money. Like, I need you to come to me. Like, people don't realize this, that like when they talk like cold calling and stuff like that, or anybody, when you're asking them for money, they're willing to talk to you because they have some sort of pain, and that's why they're even giving you the time of day. Some people who don't, they hang up the phone. But those who you actually can get into conversation with, the pain is there. And so it is almost like it's your duty to continue that conversation and to almost do them a favor by getting them through their emotional and then logical buying cycle. And sometimes it takes time, and that's kind of where that relationship is built. So like, what kind of niches are you working with right now?
Right now, toes and tree trimmers and one
Okay,
roofer.
nice. And so like, you okay with those niches?
Yeah, I love them. I wish there was more. Like,
Hold on, I think you
I
froze.
love the toe.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Yeah, I
Um, Go ahead.
love toe. Like, I wish it went somewhere. Like, I
hmm
love tow truck. Love it.
But
And
why
and
though?
so the thing is, I'm always like, oh, I want more.
Right.
And then Denroy is like, well, why don't you get these guys to take scrap cars?
hmm
I'm like, yeah, I think I will. So I started getting them, and the guys didn't want to. They're like, no, it's just a bunch of shitheads and no, no,
Right.
no.
Right.
And I'm like, come on, guys, I want you to think harder. And really, like, and so finally, both of them are like, yeah, fine, I'll try it.
hmm
And it has exploded their money.
Really? But
Yeah.
just by getting, and how does that work though? So this is what you were saying about building that relationship with the clients, right? So these are going to be like long-term, they're not going anywhere clients.
Work husbands.
Right. Yeah, because do you talk to them like once a week or something?
Whenever.
Whenever. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so how does the
I
scrap
try to
car
talk
work?
to them. I try to talk to them as much as I can.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What services are you doing for them?
There's only lead generation and
Lead
Google
generation
business
and what?
profile.
Oh, okay. What, ranking them?
Yep.
Ranking the
And getting calls.
GPPs?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're charging them.
These
What do you
guys I'm
charge them?
charging 1,200, and the tree trimmers 1,500.
And then the roofer?
1,200 right now. Just like try to add
1,200.
services on. So at first it's like GBP, and then maybe some of them want to get on Google Guaranteed, and then they're like, I want more. Because this is something that I would really like to say, is that Denroy has taught me so much,
Mm-hmm.
because he has a lot of common sense. And
Right.
so it's important not to overpromise anything to clients ever.
Yep.
And it's important to say, listen, this is this, and just be very clear and transparent about it from the start. And so I do that. Like he basically is like, here's what you have to say. And then I go and say it to the clients.
Yep.
Because he has so much experience. And that really works for me. And I also really stand up to clients. And I'm like, listen, there's no like magic raining from the sky with Google Guaranteed. Like it's pay-per-click all the way. And if you're a little about it on pay-per-click, you're not going to get anything. So if you're not ready to spend a couple grand, couple grand.
Right. You're a business
That's the thing. Now, like at first I started like 1,000, then I like went to 1,200. Now I'm like, I don't want any more PPC clients under 1,500, because it's just not the sort of person who's going to get the best returns.
And are they paying for the ad separately?
Yeah, the ad spend?
Yeah.
On their credit card.
Okay. And what do they spend?
Like I tell them straight up. I'm like, guys, it's 100, 150, 200, whatever per day. And if you don't want that, let's talk about your goals and how I can help you with them. This is a different goal.
Right. Exactly. And so
I'd be happy to help you with all your goals.
Right. You got to be willing to invest in them though.
You know what? I'd be happy to help you with your goals. I want to help people. And I never really run into anyone who wants to go all the way like I do.
Right? Exactly. So it's interesting you said that. So tell me, this is a very big point that I always make, is that with this business model, you have kind of that synergy of we all win, right? Like usually it's like people handing money over to people. Like it's like, if I want to make a lot of money, I got to go take money from somebody else. But in this business, it's very rare that we have the ability to take money from somebody, but it is now our job to make them more money than we're taking. Do you kind of feel that?
100%. That's why I kind of got like more no nonsense, because, and like I've been like this with the tow guys because they're very tough and they're constantly riding your ass. And so you constantly have to be showing them because they don't even believe it. And if you don't really, really clearly show it to them, they pretend it's not happening.
Right.
These guys are great to like practice on. And you say it, like you have to say to them a bunch of times and meet them in person. Some of them like, bro, the only way for me to get the good pay is for you to get a lot of money. That's it.
Right.
Or else I'm useless to you. I'm the step ladder.
Yep.
No problem. Step right on my back. I'm ready. But as soon as I move, you are going to fall. So
exactly. And then where are you going to be?
Yeah. And, stop being such a little bitch about it.
Tell me about your roofer, because roofing is a very big, like right now we have in this complex, a roofer that we just took on, and they got money, like the decent ones, even the ones that like are just starting out. I mean, for some reason, and I don't really know any broke roofers. Every roofer I met has money. So tell me a little bit about why that's only $1,200 and what you plan on doing with him.
Yeah. So these guys are the people who you're like, what? These are like the poor roofers.
Right.
And like they live in the poor part of town. They're like dragging along. They've only been in business for 2-3 years. But I'm like sniffing around the roofers. I'm desperate to get one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, I have to get one. But these guys, I'm not really sure. And they're not really like, I've listened to their calls and they're not really good at talking to people, at all. So I'm like, whatever. I want to help them because they do live in the like poor part of town and they're really nice. But I have this other guy he's been in business for 30 years. And I tried to get him to do PPC like 2 months ago. And he's like, I just really want to take you out. I'm like, absolutely, no problem. And so we meet. He's a really nice guy, but he explains to me that he doesn't need PPC because he's been in business for 30 years. And
referrals.
He's a big man and he advertises on Christian radio. And I'm like, okay, Bill, really nice guy. I gave him some pointers. Anyway, long story short, he called back the other day. He wants to talk about the fucking campaign. And so, yeah.
Nice. And so the results from the poor roofers, are they good results? Whether
They just started up. They just
they just
started up.
started up.
They've got some business. They've gotten like a couple $1,000 in business.
Yeah, I was just curious only because we're just starting ours, and one of the things is that they're not in an office, so calls that come in, they're on a roof like half the time, and so you do get a lot of the quick like, yeah, oh yeah, I'll call you back. They're not calling them back, and so we're thinking about maybe we add, some sort of middle person to basically book them the appointments for estimates.
Yeah, the automatic booking is great. The thing with the roofers is that I hit them up pre-season. And so I
When they're
talked to
nervous.
when they're like, yeah, right when they're like, ugh.
Yeah.
And so I found out how much they made. Like the guys, because there's this grant in Canada, blah blah blah. You have to have made more than 500G. So I'm like, is that you, dude? Like, did you make more than 500K last year?
Right.
And a bunch of them, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they're like easily. I was like, oh, okay, like how big is your crew? Like how many crews do you have? You get into the same thing with the tow guys. It's like, how many trucks do you have? The roofers, it's like, how many guys do you have working for you in the high season? 30?
Right.
How many
Yeah.
trucks do you have? How much equipment do you have?
Yeah.
Like, and so I learned a lot too about the metal roofs
Mm-hmm.
and those guys, perfect client.
Yeah.
Yeah, those
They're a
are.
lot more expensive, right? The metal roofs.
And the thing is that you get, like, I know that you know this because you made the training, but in every in every single niche, you get a certain kind of service guy who his personality, and the metal roofer is like the classy roofer guy,
Gotcha.
like the top
Right.
hat,
That's funny.
Yeah, like each roof is like 100G. I don't know, like.
Right. Just massive. It's like the luxury roof.
Yeah. And so I hit up the roofers pre-roofing season. I started relationships with them and I will be following up with them soon, but I don't want to bug them right now because I feel like I'm not going to cold call them right now because
Right.
they're just like out there. Yeah, they don't want to get a call right now. And that's something for cold calling, and I've mentioned that like with Terry as well, is that it's so important not to just, go out there and start making calls willy-nilly. Like, think hard. When's a good time for these people to receive a call from you?
Sure.
Like,
Right.
when
If
do they
it's
have
seasonal, yeah.
when do they have time to chat?
Sure. Yeah. That makes sense. And it depends. Like in Canada, obviously you have your winter, like in New Jersey. And that's why like this roofers here, we were trying to start them up in like January, February. And he's like, no, I want to wait. So he wants to wait till he's busy. I'm like, it's really not the way you should have done it, but it is what it is. And so like if you're in California, you could go year round, but I would love to give like, what do you say? Like cold calling, what are you using? Did you make up your own script? Did you just use what kind of came out of the box, which a lot of people like to do and not put their own personalities into it? But like, what's like to give you like people are gonna watch this, so give some pointers on cold calling.
Why would I make up my own script when you already wrote all the scripts?
I don't know. People like to do that.
No. So it's the one that you said in the toe challenge. Hi, how are you? The same thing that you said is totally true. If you ask people how they are and they don't ask you how you are, it's
a problem.
It's an issue.
Yeah.
It's like they're, bags. And then the script from the toe challenge, which is, hi, how's it going? Are you looking to get more calls? Are you looking to get more calls for people who want tow services? Are you looking to get more calls for scrap cars? What do you mean? I mean, are you looking to get calls for people who are looking to get rid of their scrap cars? Yes, absolutely. Oh, okay. Have you ever done a Google ad campaign before? Yeah, I have. It's bullshit and doesn't work. It's like, no, man, it does. Let me tell you about it and how well it works for scrap cars, because people just want to get rid of those and they go to Google and they quickly look up your number and they just want you to get it off their hands.
Yep.
So you want to be that number right there, and it's not hard. You just pay and get calls.
Yep. And how many of these tow companies are like Google guaranteed or I know not every niche has that ability. Because I guess my point is that it's just when you get that foot in the door, that's when you go into the Google business profiles, the Google guarantees, the PPCs. Is that kind of what you're seeing and kind of getting in and then adding more
It's like
services, or you haven't
it's sort
gone there
of
yet?
like you have the like keys on the hook or whatever, like on the circle, and you have a whole bunch of keys. And so the client is the door, and you're like, well, I have a whole bunch of keys, so I'm going to try every single one. So it's like, if they sound like they're too cheap for PPC, it's like, oh, do you want me to help you work on your Google business profile? Because that's free calls.
Right.
And I have a product, audit and optimize. Work on it for 3 months, $700. Depends on how I feel. 700, 900, whatever.
Right. That's funny.
But not less than 700. And it's like, during this time, I'm going to help you get free calls. I'm going to help you strengthen your online architecture. And I'm going to teach you how to manage your own Google business profile. So if after those 3 months, you don't have to pay me anymore, because I'm going to teach you how to do it. And if you're like, oh boy, I don't want to do it, well, just don't worry, because I'm here to do it for you.
Right. Yeah. And are you finding that that's what's happening? They just want you to just continue?
So far, I just started with this audit and optimize thing. The other Google business profiles, it's like, no, it's like paying per month, like $200 to $400.
After the 700, 3 months.
That's a new thing I just came up with, because I need a lead magnet.
Yes. Okay. So that's what your foot in the door lead magnet. Makes sense.
My foot in the door is whatever people want. And like, after listening, like watching the Viper sales script, you have to listen to the people. Everyone wants to get excited and offer them this and offer them that. But it's like, do they want your offer? Like, did you ask them if they agreed to being offered something?
Right. Exactly. That's funny.
Because the people want help. Like, people, and whatever they say, then you just bounce off that. People, this one guy I have, he's close to signing up another tree trimmer for PPC, but he's a bit annoying. And so I don't call him anymore. Vince. Yeah. I don't call him anymore. I wait for him to call me.
Got it.
Yeah.
Otherwise he's too much.
Because when he does call me, I'm like, eh. So he's like, I just need you to help me get those pictures off my Google profile. And I'm like, I just need you to give me the login info, like, so get back to me with that. And then decide, and then you decide, what are you going to help them with? Because I find that everyone has been burned, scammed.
Absolutely.
They don't understand, Sometimes I explain things that are really simple to people, and they're like, how much do I owe you? I'm like, bro, nothing.
That's right. Well, don't get mad at your money, as they say. So, money is money. People are like, $100, $200. I want to build $1 million business. Like, learn how to make 100 or 200 first. Like, you can't. What are you going to go from 0 to 1 million with nothing? Like, you got to develop the skills and stuff like that. So, tell me about so how much do you work in your translation business?
I would say, because I knew you were going to ask that too. So in 1 month, if I put it all together, I would say that one entire week out of each month, I was working on the translation and interpreting business. And the rest of the time, all day, every day, like trying to figure out the local marketing vault.
But now that you kind of have.
No, I haven't at all.
You haven't figured it out?
No, I can barely understand.
Well, no. So here's what you do understand. And this is why I think it's important for a good community to be in place, is that what your strengths are. Your strengths are to call, develop relationships, and then who's doing your fulfilling? You're not, right?
Denroy.
So then why do you need to figure anything out?
Well, actually, I'm doing Google Business Profile because I have a burning desire to understand, especially after I watched the 10K videos. I'm like seeing Rudy and everyone, and I'm like watching the videos again and again, and I'm like, what is it?
The secret?
No, I know what the secret is. They figured it out, and they're very smart, and you have to figure it out to be really smart yourself. But I find it's exciting. I want more. I want to make 5,000 per month, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, ultimately, the secret sauce of it all is just prospecting, right? So, like, and
But
then once,
I just want to be smarter because I know that. I get it. I understand. I know it's prospecting, but I how can I find this perfect client? You know what I mean? Like I've already blazed through, like done my ADHD focus and like
Mhm.
blazed through a thought pattern.
Okay, so
Yeah.
if I was going to sell you something, right? My goal would to find out what your pain point is. So right now, what is your pain point? You want more, right?
Money.
Okay,
Yeah.
you want more
More
money.
PPC. I want more PPC campaigns. Yeah.
Okay, so you want more PPC campaigns,
Hmm.
and you've already done towing, a little bit of roofing. What was the other one again?
Tree trimming. Great
Tree
area.
tree
Yeah.
trimming.
I
And
really like
so there is no secret. The secret is that start cold calling different niches.
which one?
Which one? That's all. That's the. Do you not? If I could tell you how many times people don't even prospect because they're still trying to pick their niche for years,
I know, I know, I know.
and so you
No, I'm
don't
gonna
know.
next week. I'm starting on a new niche, and I will report on it in the group.
I mean, listen, you can make a boatload more money by sticking even with what's working. Like,
I know, I know. The thing is, I still, the problem is, James, is that I'm too scared to call the US. So I have to do that next.
what are you scared of?
That it's like out of my local area because my conversation, a lot of the conversations that I have with people,
I
a
get
lot
it.
of the connecting that we do is because we're from Ottawa, Toronto, Calgary, Manitoba, like Kelsey
Hmm.
and Denroy. It's like we're all Canadian. And
Got it.
so
Got
it's
it.
so much yeah, it's so easy to sell people being like, "Bro, I'm from Ottawa. I went to this high school," you know?
Mhm. And who did
That
you talk to on the phone when you came into our program?
Nick Saint, and I gave him a really hard time.
Right. And so, and you bought, right?
Yeah.
And he's from where?
UK.
Okay, so that whatever you think in between your ears means absolutely nothing of what people are willing to do.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I gotta call the US, man.
I mean, do you know that your accent plays a very big role calling US? People like in the US, we love accents. We love the Canadian, Australian, UK. Like Nick is one of our best sales guys, and I swear to God, I mean, other than he's the best, but I'm convinced his accent like helps out also. It probably adds 2 or 3%.
It's crazy because he sounds very honest.
Well, he is honest, you know. I mean, how many did you just do one call with him? I'm just curious now.
Yeah, it was like because I sort of I wasn't sure and I guess I just like signed up for the call and then when we were on it, I was like, I need to think about it. And he's like, no. I'm
Are
like,
you?
I really do because this is a lot of money and I'm poor or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, well, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to decide now. So
And
I made him talk to me for 40 more minutes.
he was willing to. So you decided. So now this brings me back to sales, right? If he would have let you go and convince yourself, because you would have maybe convinced yourself that this wasn't like, I don't know if I could do it. You just start like ruining your brain for the next 24, 48 hours, week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, month. And then maybe you would have decided not to do this. What's the opportunity cost of you saying no? It's 3 months of $2,000 a month, whatever it is, right? And for perpetuity, for the rest of
Yeah,
your life, because you
yeah,
were
a
basically
pussy.
right. I have a problem. Yes, in your mind, I could figure out how to afford it. Otherwise, you wouldn't even book the call in the first place. You would have figured it out. And what you do that a lot of people don't do is you actually followed the fucking training and actually did the actual work. And it's paying dividends. And now you want more. So just do more of what you're already doing.
I will. At this point, I'll do whatever you guys say.
Just follow what James and Jason say.
Yeah, yeah. I want to say though that for me, the biggest benefit of the program, the money is really great. It's changed my life. It's making a big difference, and it
Mhm.
really has helped me a lot. And I want to say thank you.
Oh, I appreciate that. But you
Thank
did the work.
The thing that the program taught me and that I really love about marketing in general is that it's like, what's the bottom line? Like
Mm-hmm.
you get down to the bottom line and either you're a whiny little shitbag or you're going to do it.
That's
And
it.
there's nothing else. And it's hard work. Like there's some hard stuff. It's like you guys
Mm-hmm.
say, 90% we did for you, 10% you're going to have to do. So I'm like, this feels really uncomfortable. I'm like, well, that's life and it's going to be hard and you
Yep.
have to do it. So I'm going to keep doing that.
That is life. But it's the blinders, and it just stacks, and you do get that breakthrough if you do something long enough where you put in the reps, you put in the effort, you're making money, you made your money back already or whatever, and the rest is profit. And now one day you wake up and you're like, a roofer you talked to 3 months ago is like, hey, I'm ready to go. Okay, it's 5,000 a month. Let's do it. Like when I say breakthrough, those are the things that happen, right? It doesn't happen when you think it's going to happen or when it should happen. It happens when you put in enough of the legwork to almost be worthy of those things to start happening to you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. Because you have to be ready. You think you're ready today to have a campaign that's 5,000? Like, good
Right.
luck. Sometimes people ask me, what's the ad spend like for this, that, and the other? And I'm like, it's 200 per day. They're like, that's crazy. I'm like, you're crazy. What do you think? You want to make something from nothing? Like,
right. Well, I mean, listen, 200 a day. I mean, if it gets you 5 calls and you do 3 tows, like, I don't know how much like in New Jersey, a tow is $240, maybe not in Canada, not all places, but a regular tow within 10 miles is at least $250.
I mean, just again, the cool thing for me is what Denroy has showed me. He's like, here's how the campaigns work. He's like, Jesse, let's get scrap cars, convince them. I'm like, sure, we'll do. And then we got them those scrap cars. And then they went from making like, 15 grand per month to making like 30. And you're looking at the numbers and you're like,
that's crazy.
and you're like, wow, that's like you're moving like 30 scrap cars per month. Like,
Right.
what are you doing with those?
Yeah, I know. Then you want to know about their business. Like, wait a minute, what are you
I
doing?
get right up in their business. I'm like, how much did you get for it? Why? Catalytic converter, et cetera, et cetera.
That's crazy. But look,
It is crazy. And like the thing is that this one guy who was such a hard ass and he was like really rude and mean. And I was just like, whatever. He completely flipped the script. He said sorry. This is after 4 or 5 months. He's like, Jesse, you were right. And everything's going really well. And I want to say thank you.
Right. He didn't even know how to do it. He didn't even know how to say thank you.
I loved it. I'm like, is this real?
Yeah.
And like the guy's voice, like when you listen to the recordings, like I love this guy. He turned from being like so mean to being like, yes, ma'am, I'll be right there. Like, no. Like,
because he got respect for you. That's why now.
He's happy. Exactly. He didn't have no respect.
Yeah.
And now he's happy. So when I'm like, give me money, like I'm like, I need money. I need the next month up front. He's like, yes.
No problem. Send me the invoice.
No invoices. And so I'm like, yes, like, thank you. Like, this really helps my life when you pay me 2 months ahead and next it's 3.
Right. It's perfect. So now, what's next for Jesse?
More prospecting, like you said. I need to really get to 5,000. That's the goal. And then the goal by the end of 2024 was to have 6 months rent saved, which is 11,000 for me.
Perfect.
Yeah. And so the thing that I tell myself is that if I can get 1 client per month, that's really good.
Yeah. You ever use that calculator that we have?
No, I hate numbers.
No. It's literally, you just plug it in. It'll tell you, like, if you do 1,000 a month and you get 1 a day, like, what does that equate to? 1 a month? What does that equate to?
Yeah.
In yearly income? I mean, it doesn't take a genius. 1 a month is 12 a year. At an average of 1,000, it's 12,000 a month. It's 144 the next year, assuming that you don't lose any. But yeah, if you can get 1 client a month, I mean, it is very, I don't want to say easy. it's doable in the sense of you already have the case study. Like, are you doing case study videos with them? I know it would be hard. I mean, what?
Yeah, these hard asses, that's
No,
like
no. Don't
barely
overthink it.
possible.
Don't
But
overthink it.
I have like the tree trimmer guys. I think, yeah, I could get that. I guess I should get that.
With the
It's like
listen,
hard. I already have to massage so much, you know?
no. Listen, this is what you do because you see them every so often, right? Or
Yeah.
you could.
Yes, I do.
You just grab your damn phone and don't even tell them and start recording and say, "Hey, tree trimmer, how's business been since we started working together?" And he'll be like, he's going to be forced to know what to say. First of all, he'd be like, and so if there's any other tree trimmers out there that would want to work with me, not in the same area, don't worry, tree trimmer, but outside of your area, what would you tell them? And he'd be like, do it. She's been great. That's a case study. You don't have to sit like this and make it all formal, and then you throw it up on. I mean, have Denroy run a little local Facebook ad with that case study. Oh my God. And book calls on your calendars. You won't even need to cold call anymore.
Okay.
And then when you do that, tell me what happened.
I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna get the tow guy to do it because he owes me.
There you go.
And he has a really good voice.
They will all do it.
All right.
You're willing to cold call 30 to 60 people a day, and you don't even want to ask your clients who are very happy for.
I pressure them all the time, James. Like I'm like constantly pressuring them.
But they probably like
and I have started pressuring them. I hope so. I started pressuring them to get me clients. And so this guy has told me about one friend who's in Interlock. I'm like, woo, those are expensive leads. But yeah.
What is Interlock? I don't even know what Interlock is.
You know, like interlocking stone.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I am pressuring them for like to get me clients who are their friends.
That would be the next thing to do.
Yeah.
So client case study referral.
Yep.
Client case study referral. At least one from each one. Okay. And then report back to me because I want to know. So, but this is all good. So let's end with this. A lot of people out there, they're working the 9 to 5. They're paycheck to paycheck. We've all been there. How does somebody get over the fear of taking a leap to learn? I like to say to learn new skills. I don't like to say like, oh, to learn how to make $10,000 a month, right? Let's move away from that and more into skills, because now you have skills that you can use for the rest of your life. In worst case, you could just use Denroy to continue to do what he's doing. I mean, that's why we talk about partnerships. But what would you say to somebody who's kind of like, I want to learn this, but I don't know if I should learn this. Is this going to work for me? What would be your advice?
I would say you have to be really uncomfortable. And if you want to move away from that discomfort, you go toward the course.
Right.
And so, yeah. And so the discomfort has to be really big and really uncomfortable to propel you toward LMV. And that's what Jason talks about, of course, with the having a good why.
Right.
And when I was doing those beginning steps, that really is important to just please follow along at that time and just do the stuff and don't worry about making a new map when someone already gave you a map.
Sure.
And so that why for me is really strong, and it keeps getting stronger. And people like now I've had 2 job offers and I'm like, I'm so scared about saying no. Right. I said no. One of them was from the government. But I'm just like, I can't.
I'm too far into this now.
I'm too far gone. Yeah. And it's like, I'm not even making crazy money. You know what I mean? Like,
right. But it's the freedom.
It's a lot of money for me. I know it might not sound like a lot of money for all the superstars, but it's honestly a ton every month. So.
Listen, Jesse, I've said this to everybody. I know we live in a world where people are flashing, this and that just to sell, their coaching, whatever. But when 2014, when I paid the money that I paid to learn the skills that started my journey, it was like, if I could just make $1,000 a month, like $1,000 extra a month on top of my job. Like that's both my cars at the time. It was like that, like, because that's how close I was getting by every month. And I tell this story all the time. It was 1,000, and then my first client through Warm Market was 5,000 a month, which, by the way, I should not have even taken because I knew nothing about anything. Like I was taking on a mortgage company to rank for SEO that I was like, yeah, I could get you on the first page. But what ended up happening was, and this was where the vault was built, was then I met Jason and he's like, don't worry, forget SEO, just run pay-per-click ads. And then we'll do SEO on the back end and he won't care how long it takes. And I was like, let's do it. And that's what kind of was the beginning. And so I had him for 2.5 years, I think, at 5,000 a month.
Wow.
But those come, sometimes you get lucky, right? But I followed my training.
You do get lucky when you're ready.
When you're ready, yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
sometimes when you're not.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Well, this has been great. Thank you so much. Whenever I do these, I get motivated because I've been doing this for a very long time. And sometimes like the day in, day out. And, this breaks up my day. And you've been great. And I congratulate you on the success. And I know that you're going to quadruple this probably by the end of this year if you just do what we tell you to do.
I will.
Okay.
I will. I'm on the straight and narrow, and like honestly, Denroy, Michael Smith, everyone, people are awesome. Andrew Thompson, Terry, Kate, Trina.
I know you guys are you guys have like a family that
Jennifer.
I mean, it's crazy. Like I didn't know you worked with any of them. I didn't really know 100. Obviously, I don't know. So we have this big group, and there's like relationships that are being built. Jason and I have no idea, and that's what a community is, and so it just runs itself. So that's awesome to see.
I don't believe that. Jason's out there every day. I'm sure. I don't have GHL, but I can't. People keep inviting me to the group, so I'm in it. But Jason is there answering every single person's tiny question every day. So it's a lot of work. Yeah. No, again, thank you for the tools, and I will continue to do what you guys say and follow the map to success, first to 5,000 and then to 10,000.
If you like inspirational videos like this, you can click here to watch that one or click here to watch this one.